Hey there, welcome to episode 31 of the Boob Report podcast, powered by Helix Interactive. This is a pre-recorded episode that I did back during the holidays. It's a personal one for me since I've dealt with anxiety and depression since before my diagnosis. Along with my regular therapy sessions, I have some podcasts that I listen to and recommend. Settle in to find out which ones. I wanted to take this special short and sweet episode of the podcast that will be airing on Christmas Eve to give a little gift to women and caregivers, men, anyone who happens to be listening to the podcast, just some suggestions on getting help when you need it, asking for help when you need it. I know that, as I mentioned in another one of my podcasts, that the holidays can suck, especially if you're going through a major illness such as breast cancer or, just the loss of a loved one. The holidays can be incredibly difficult. And I think one of the most difficult things for people to do is to reach out and ask for help. And I have been incredibly open and transparent about my need for therapy to deal with anxiety and depression, something that I have dealt with off and on for most of my life, and was really exacerbated by the diagnosis of breast cancer. So it is something that I work on pretty regularly. I am still in therapy. I am a huge proponent of therapy. If you can get it, definitely take advantage of it. I am absolutely an advocate for it being mental health services being available for everyone. It is vitally important for people to have access to that. So talking to someone, even if it's just a few sessions, just being able to let someone know how you feel that is looking in from the outside and can give you some guidance on how to deal with that is huge. I am wanting to move forward in so many ways with my business and things like that. And I think that the kick in the ass, if you will, that I got from cancer has really helped propel me to get over some of my fears. Now, the women that I've had on my show previously are pretty amazing rock star women. And I don't have guests like that to make anyone feel any less of themselves or for them to be overwhelmed and say that they just don't have that kind of drive or that kind of motivation. As I always stress, every woman's journey is personal. It's their own. There are no explanations. There are no right or wrong ways to go through that. And you have to figure out what works best for you. And that includes stepping out and realizing what you need to do to not only heal yourself physically, but heal yourself mentally and emotionally as well. So looking at the bigger picture of getting some sort of therapy, mental health help is one step, which I highly recommend. Another one is to look at stuff along the lines of self-care that you can do. I also get lymphatic drainage massages. That helps my body overall, which also helps my mental state. Another thing that I love to do is I love to dance. I love to go dancing. My husband and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, we're totally into boot scooting. We love country music, and that's a release for me. I love to go do it. I've also tried over and over again, and I'm still trying. I consider myself a student. I like to try and meditate. Now, I'm going to make a suggestion, and a lot of these things will be in the show notes on the website. I listen to the Women's Meditation Network on the podcast. I also follow them on Facebook. Katie is an amazing woman. She has the most soothing voice, and she guides you through it. There are so many people out there that can meditate on their own, and that's fantastic, and more power to them. I'm actually a little jealous that they're able to do that, but my mind is a constant whirling dervish. So I need to go through a led meditation for someone to lead me through it, walk me through it. And these are amazing. You can listen to these and just come out feeling so much better and so much more calm. I also realized with what I'm dealing with, as far as my anxiety and my depression, oddly enough, the producer of my podcast, Drew Linsalata, is a very well known podcaster himself, has written several books and hosts a podcast called The Anxious Truth. And I really like listening to that podcast. It speaks to me. It lets me know that I'm not the only one out there dealing with anxiety and that it's okay to not be okay and figure out how to get back to being okay, if you will. So that's another one that I very highly recommend. And then the last one is, well, certainly not the last, but it's one that's close to my heart because it is hosted by a dear friend of mine. It's a podcast called The Shit We Don't Talk About. And it's hosted by the amazing Mia Voss. She speaks her truth, no holds barred. It is completely uncensored. And I love that about her. It covers everything. It covers what's going on in the world. It covers women and their bodies. It covers mental health. You name it, she's going to be talking about it. And it's stuff that people don't normally talk about. So that's why it's called Shit We Don't Talk About. And again, I will have the links to these great resources in the show notes. Another thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be over the next several months on our website recommending books that are available for you to read. I know a lot of women, sometimes they don't want to read another, oh, woe is me book. These books are pretty amazing because they're how the women took what they went through and turned it into a positive. And I think a lot of times it's really hard for women to do that. And someone can tell you that over and over again. But for some women, maybe reading it is a little more butt kicking, get you into gear inducement rather than having someone preaching it to you over and over face to face. So I just think that it's so incredibly important to really take care of you. And I know that a lot of times people feel like that is selfish. That's, why women especially are not used to putting themselves first. When you are dealing with a devastating diagnosis, you have to learn how to take care of yourself. You have to learn how to put yourself first. You have to be able to figure out a way to, number one, accept the fact that you had breast cancer. I struggled with that, still do, honestly. You have to accept the fact that you're going to be going through surgery or a lumpectomy or radiation or chemo or whatever integrative treatment path you work out with your doctor. Then, once you've reached the survivor role, that's a whole nother level that you have to deal with. Sometimes people get to that survivor role. I know I did. And it's like, okay, what next? Now what? I don't know how to feel. I don't know what's supposed to happen next. So being able to take a step back and focus on you, do some reading, do some self-reflection, get that mental health therapy set up, talk to friends, go to support groups. There are so many resources out there. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, and that's why I started the Boob Report, but you will find them. And if you need help finding them, please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. We are more than happy to try and help you find the resources that will best suit your needs. So on this Christmas Eve, the last few days of 2021 that we know has been quite the, I don't know, flaming pile of, we wanted to take a few minutes and just have this special short and sweet podcast to let you know that it is okay for you to take care of you, that it is okay for you to put yourself first. That is our gift to you. And if you have any amazing resources that you would like to share, please let us know. You can contact us through the website. You can reach out to me directly, my email, michelle@theboobreport.com, and we would love to hear from you. So again, just wanted to keep it short and sweet because I want you guys to be able to spend time with your families, your friends, your fur babies, however you celebrate the holidays, just go do that and try and find some joy, some self-reflection, and figure out how you are going to focus on taking care of you in 2022. Thank you for letting me share some of my stuff with you. I've put the links for the podcasts that I suggested as a starting point in the episode 16 show notes on our website at www.theboobreport.com/podcast. And a very big thank you to all of you for tuning in each week and listening to us and spending time with us. We so appreciate you. Be sure to definitely like and follow us and share the podcast with your friends or anyone who you think would benefit from this. You can become an active listener and support the podcast by clicking on the podcast link on our website, once again, at www.theboobreport.com/podcast. Happy holidays, guys. Thank you for indulging me with this episode. I truly appreciate all of you. I will have the links for the podcasts in the show notes. You can find them at www.theboobreport.com/podcast, episode 31. Be sure to like and follow us and definitely share the podcast with your friends. You can become an active listener and support this podcast by clicking on the podcast link on our website at theboobreport.com. Take care.